I did not see that coming at all. It was not on my Wiccan bingo board that he met Patti LuPone at his bar mitzvah.
I think the tale is going from one accent to another, like, without explanation.
Do you think Eddie is Teddy?
Greetings, Palaxians. Today on the Bounty Board, the pals discuss episode 6 of Agatha All Along and Wiccan's origins. So kick up that warp drive and let's punch it.
Welcome to the Guardians of the Palaxy podcast. Everybody, my name is MT, and I'm here today with two of my wonderful friends, Whitney and Brett. What's going on, gang?
I think you meant to say 3 of your wonderful friends because there's a pug.
Oh, yeah.
That's a pug.
And Pugsley. Hello, Pugsley. He came right
perfect.
in time.
It's perfect that he's here because this episode is called Familiar by Your Side. And so
oh my God.
the Palaxy's little familiar is by our side.
And I just have to keep my arm like this the entire time.
Yeah. You have to just keep making a little frame for his perfect little face.
Oh, so cute. I love you, Pugsley. Don't let Evan Peters near that dog, okay? Do not let him near him because
I will not. Because apparently Evan Peters is a dog murderer.
He did it. My God.
Jesus.
I don't associate with boners.
Never let a boner near your dog, okay? That's the lesson of the day.
Please don't. Dear God, do not let a boner near your dog.
We really shouldn't get this rowdy in the first minute.
I know, right? Demonetized.
Demonetized. I'm sorry. Is the boner back or not? This was the boned up episode.
The boner is
back. The boner's back in town.
Bro,
Boner's back in town.
I like a good boner trolling, man. Like, honestly, like, I know a lot of people are probably upset about the whole boner reveal, but, like, I love that stuff, man. It's just like, like, they know that, like, it's a joke at this point. Like, it's funny.
If you're upset about boners, keep it in your pants. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that you're upset about boners. I only want to hear boner love for Ralph, love for all the boners, the whole boner family reunion. Good for them.
Yeah.
That shirt was hilarious.
Oh my God, it was
shirt
so
was
good.
Great. Yeah,
I want 3 of those shirts immediately.
They would actually sell really well. That's a great idea.
Oh, Hot Topic is already halfway there, baby. Their screen printing machines are hot right now. They are hot and plugged in.
I'm sure
and
Ryan,
ready.
Ari, and Paul are already drafting up their versions of it.
Yeah, Paul and Ryan already have their own boner family reunion shirts in the works. We'll
like,
get
I can
one.
picture them like in like Tony Stark in the cave. They're just like banging with their hammers, making the shirts.
Yes.
Tony Stark made that boner in a cave with a box of scraps.
That's the way that a boner should be made. Handmade.
Man-made boners. I like man-made boners.
Hand-forged, rock hard, solid boners. That's what
Abraham Lincoln did, and that's what I want to do. Anyway,
while we're on the subject of blue humor, last week we totally forgot to talk about Mr. Shart. And I just want to say, we all saw Mr. Shart.
We all saw Mr. Shart. Mr. Shart was in the room with those women that night. And I, for one, feel bad for how stinky that cabin must have been.
I feel bad for Mr. Shart because he tried to talk to them and nobody talked to him back.
Nobody talked back to
They
were like,
Shart.
Mrs. Hart's here. No, Mr. Shart was there. Nobody asked him any questions. Nobody asked how his tummy's doing.
His revenge story will be bloody. It sounds like a freaking horror villain, Mr. Shart. Anyway, all right, now let's
John
talk about
Wick
this episode.
stars in the Mr. Shart trilogy. Bruce Willis stars in Shart Hard with a Vengeance.
High five, remaining pals. Thank you for sticking with us.
Yeah, thank you, pals. Whoever made it this far into the episode, I swear we'll talk about this episode at some point.
Oh my! So this episode, of course, starts with a magic mitzvah of not Billy Maximoff, but Billy Kaplan, which is of course the name of Wiccan in the original comics before he was realized to be the son of the Scarlet Witch. But of course, he's having his big bar mitzvah. He's 13 years old. We finally see his parents that he's talked about, but we've never actually seen. And they're very nice parents. I really like his parents. Like they're so supportive and like
great couple.
So sweet and so supportive. Like we'll talk about his parents and why they're so sweet and supportive in a little bit. But I do want to comment on the bar mitzvah scene. And what was so funny was I watched the episode before Brett did. So I watched it last night. Brett watched it this morning. And so I knew what was going down. But Brett's watching it and he goes, wait, do you think that he was gay before the car accident, or did the car accident make him gay? And we were like, I don't know. And then we were rewatching the bar mitzvah scene, and at one point he goes, "This is so extra," and Brett goes, "No, the car crash did not make him gay. No, it did not. He was gay all along."
Billy somehow found someone also named William and who was also gay. Pretty clutch coincidence.
Pretty clutch coincidence. I am all for it. I am here for it. We love Billy Kaplan and we love Billy Maximoff. What a fun episode.
We have Lilia Calderu with a little tent on the side, which is very surprising. I was like, oh my God, you guys met before? You guys met?
What? I did not see that coming at all. Like, I had no idea. It was not on my Wiccan bingo board that he met Patti LuPone at his bar mitzvah. I want to meet Patti LuPone at a party thrown just for 13-year-old me. That sounds great. Especially as a gay teen. If I was a gay teen and Patti LuPone showed up at like my super sweet 16 or whatever, I would have fucking died. Great. Great
rules.
memory
I love
for
her
this
so
kid.
much. But it must be so lonely being in that little tent while everyone's having fun outside. I'd be like, oh, I want to be outside having fun.
I want to dance.
What a absolute surprise that she was the one who drew the sigil, though.
I know, right? I was like, yo, what? I couldn't believe it.
And why exactly? Because, like, is it just because she was like, oh shit, his soul's gonna split in two? Don't want to remember that, kid. Like, what was the... How did it benefit?
I think it was her slipping back from having already known him. I think she, because her consciousness kind of like is on this like weird little slider.
Yeah.
So I think future Lilia slid back and was like, oh, this is someone I should protect.
Honestly, like, I feel like I hope that's the case in like in a future episode. Like, you know, if like, let's say like Lily is about to die, it's like the last thing I'll do is like, you know, protect Billy Maximoff before I die. Because like her whole like character arc seems to be linked towards like an overall fear of death. And so like, I feel like Lilia accepting death by the end of the series and like just going would be sort of beautiful in a way.
Dancing into heaven in Aubrey Plaza's arms. God, I hope that happens to me when I die. That's what I want.
That is a funny alternate interpretation, though, that she just like is so afraid of death that she was like, oh, this kid is dying today. I don't want to remember this.
I don't want to remember this at all.
Sucks to be you.
Sucks to suck. And in your pocket that goes. And I
feel so much better.
Eternal Sunshine, amazing. She got lacunaed and lacunaed hard.
But of course, this whole party gets interrupted by the anomaly at Westview. So everyone has to go home immediately because who knows what's going to happen. And so, of course, on the way back to Eastview, they get into a terrible car accident, and we see the death of beautiful Billy Maximoff. So sad. On his bar mitzvah day, he just became a man. And
and now he's dead. Also, it would so totally suck to have a bar mitzvah that cool and not remember it. Like, his bar mitzvah looked lit. It was, everyone was dancing, everyone was grooving, having a great time. They had a fortune teller, which is sick. Great. He can't remember it, and his parents probably paid so much money, and he can't even remember it. That sucks. I would want to remember who I was grinding with the night of my bar mitzvah. That's what I would want to remember for life.
To be fair, I believe the soul of Billy Kaplan probably remembers because he was completely body swapped, essentially.
Right.
So is Billy Kaplan's soul in child Billy Maximoff
they
now?
weren't like swapped. He died. He ascended to whatever Marvel afterlife.
He went to Kaplan heaven.
Yeah.
The Kaplan ancestral plane. Everyone's doing the Wakanda salute for some reason. It's weird.
It's really weird, but they're going with it, I guess.
But what's also surprising is that we see Alice Wu Gulliver in her like police days being the one to like, you know, help the Kaplans in their situation, which is like, whoa, what happened between then and now?
Also blew my mind. It was so wild that he met two of these people on the same day. Like, that's just so... I did not see that coming at all. I had no idea that they were going to, like, make them part of his invisible string, to quote Taylor Swift. I said Swift weird. But yeah, I didn't know that they were going to be part of his day one journey as Billy Maximoff. I did not see that coming. I thought that was really, really cool. I just love the way that they handled this scene. I also, from the previews, I thought that Billy's parents were going to die. I didn't think he was going to die. So that also shocked me because at first I was watching the episode and I was like, I wish that I hadn't looked at the previews, but they were all over Twitter and I couldn't avoid it. Now I know his parents are going to die. And I was wrong. His parents did not die. It was great.
It was great. It was great to see a car accident where only the child got hurt.
Yeah, that was what I liked best. Phew, thank God.
Disney really put an Uno reverse into it.
Just really threw that Uno reverse in. Yeah, no, seriously. Is this the first Disney movie where the kid dies instead of one of the parents? Because Disney parents are always getting killed off. I think that's probably why I assumed that they were, because my brain is just programmed like, oh, if it's Disney, one of those parents is going to die really horrifically and definitely in front of their child.
I don't think it's 100% your fault because I think in episode 1, when Rio and Agatha are like, doing the whole investigation to the car crash, they did say that 2 airbags were deployed. So it's just like, you sort of do assume that like, all right, 2 airbags deployed, 2 people died in the front seat. So I don't think it's our fault. It's just like they sort of let us on and they're like, no, just kidding. They're alive and they're just watching TV or something. I don't know.
It was a great bait and switch, though, because totally fooled me. Right? I did not see that coming at all. And I really, really love that this character has such loving parents because it's really rare to see that especially for queer characters in any kind of media, especially like, okay, you think about like X-Men, for example. And a lot of those parents weren't so accepting of their queer kids. And in this, we actually get to see a set of parents who are loving towards their kid, who support him being gay, who even support him after he changes and becomes basically an entirely different person. They, like his brain gets swapped out. He isn't acting the same. He doesn't have any of his old memories. It's essentially like they just got a brand new kid thrown into their laps that they don't even know. And the fact that his parents still made the choice to love him and support him and accept him for exactly who he is and not try to change him and not try to force him to be what they want him to be. I really liked that representation because, like I said, like when you're gay, you don't really see a whole lot of positive, supportive parent representation in media. You usually see parents who are like, fuck you, you're gay, get the fuck out of my house. But his parents straight up went from being like, okay, here's our baby boy, his room is covered in sports memorabilia, to being like, this is my gay goth son, and I stand by him. They were watching some psychological thriller on TV downstairs, and they were like, hey, honey, you want to come watch this spooky movie with us that we're watching because we want to fit in with your interests because you're kind of spooky? Let's do it as a family. It was just really refreshing to see. I loved that. I love those parents. The Kaplans are great. Adopt me, Kaplans. Adopt me.
So what's cool about the Kaplans in the comics too is I'm pretty sure it's been a while since I've read this comic, but I'm pretty sure there's a scene where Billy's trying to come out to them as a superhero, and they just are like, they're super supportive because they think he's just coming out of the closet, and they're like, great. Oh, we've known all along.
We've known the whole time.
And I guess it's kind of similar to the scene that we see with him and his boyfriend Eddie.
Dude, those two were super adorable. Man, I was like, oh my God, I can't. Like,
when
will I have this type of love in my life? Like, where's my boo thing, man? Like, God dang. But what's super interesting, I know we're like sort of jumping ahead, but a little bit later when they're texting, he says, oh, you're my black heart.
Yeah.
And like a lot of people on the internet have been like, pointing that toward the fact that like a black heart was a part of Lilia Caldero's list for Agatha's Coven. So it's just like, oh, shoot. Are we talking about Billy Maximoff here? Because like
he's the black heart. Hell
exactly,
yeah.
And the sigil probably kept her from like writing his name down like actually. Yeah. So it's just like, all right, we only got the black heart from the text message. I'm like, oh my God, that's so brilliant.
That's such a great way to connect that.
Do you think Eddie is Teddy?
That's a good question.
I don't think so, but it's also very interesting that
he has abs, Brett. So like close. I said,
he does have abs.
Last episode, he has abs. He could be Teddy. What
Teddy, if? Teddy's supposed to be more of a bear than like a twink. So I'm like, is this going to be Hulkling? I don't know.
Listen,
what do you think?
I don't think that we should put Teddy/Eddie in a box. He can be any kind of gay he wants to be. Let's let him.
I mean, he's a shapeshifter, so he could. He's a
shapeshifter. He could be a different guy. We don't know. Maybe
I was expecting
he's lying
a
about
bulkier
his
guy.
name.
Imagine he's like 6'5" with a deep voice. He's like, hey, this is my real voice.
This is my true form.
I used to be Lamar Odom in the NBA, then I changed. I don't know why I said Lamar Odom. Anyway, okay. But like Billy has this overall desire to find out who he is because he doesn't feel like himself. Like he immediately sort of like susses out that like, I'm not this person. Like, even though like I could have amnesia, but like I know this isn't me. This isn't amnesia. This is just like a weird, like I'm in the wrong body type of situation. And so like, you know, he spends the next 3 years just trying to figure that out. And like he talks to his boyfriend and tells him about that. And they sort of together basically points him to this mysterious bonerific 69 fella who has
bonerific 69 baby. Let's go. The boner is back. I'm so happy. I'm so happy.
God. It was such an interesting decision, but like I like the fact that like they sort of teased us with this like, hey, who is this mysterious person? It's like, oh no, it's just boner.
It's just boner
again.
It's just boner
and he's crazy.
Again.
Like
Dude.
3 years of just being paranoid, you know, and I totally understand this because like if I met witches and then like was also like probably interrogated to death by like a secret government organization, I'd be like, what is reality anymore? Like what's going on? I don't trust anybody.
That is enough to turn anyone into a conspiracy theorist. No, like seriously, like if you're gonna turn into like a baddie conspiracy theorist, that's how that happens.
It's the perfect road.
You get mind fucked by a witch, and then you get got by like sword or shield or another fucking government entity that's a weapon for some reason. You just that has to be hard. My heart goes out. My black heart goes out to Ralph Boner.
I love the little chicken bone cross he has on his hat. I'm like, what is that going to do? Is that going to really protect you?
Maybe. I don't know.
But of course, Ralph gives Billy and Eddie, who has no idea what's going on, the lowdown of like what happened at Westview and how like, you know, he was the uncle of the two twins and how, you know, Wanda and Vision had, you know, these two boys named Billy and Tommy. And at the mention of Tommy's name, like you could see like a bit of familiarity. It's like, oh man, like who is this? Like, why does this name sound so familiar? Like I have to find my brother. And I also love the fact that like when Billy came to, like in the car and during the car accident, the first word that he says is Tommy, which sort of like implies that might have been the last words that he said right before the hex closed on them, which is super sad. It's like, oh no, like the last word you say is your brother's name. It's like, that's love, man. Yeah. They were always together, so like, you know.
I think they did. They said good night, Tommy, good night, Billy. So yeah.
Right.
I actually have a theory that the first thing that he said was Tommy is because he's actually a really huge fan of Guardians of the Palaxy. And so when he woke up, he was like, Tommy. And then we didn't hear him because like the camera cut away to Alice, but then he said, MT, Whitney, Brett, Huxley, Alexa, Kelly. And it was so wild, but like that was like, you know, that stuff got cut out of the episode. Yeah, cut for time, but he definitely said it. And that's what matters.
I believe
it's real,
that.
And it's canon.
I would love that, actually. The first word you say when you come back to life is our names.
Yeah.
Hooray for narcissism. Yay. Just kidding. But yes, of course. So Billy gets all this information about like the Wanda Westview stuff, but he also hears about this interesting lady, Agatha Harkness, who tortured a poor Boner and took his Bowflex. So sad.
Took his Bowflex, made him kill a dog. Justice for Ralph Boner.
All he has left is theater.
Bro, I feel so bad for him because like you could tell that like he feels terrible about killing Sparky. Because like when Eddie says rough, he's like, "Hey, do not say rough," because that's so like I feel bad about that.
Triggering. Yeah.
But yeah, that's a very tragic character. I kind of hope that like we get like an ending to his story that's like, hey, and then he became a famous actor who became, I don't know, Quicksilver and X-Men Days of Future Past or something. I don't know.
Oh, yes.
He's Wonder Man.
That is what I would love.
White Wonder Man. But okay, and then then Billy goes home. His parents are like, "Hey, come watch movies with us." He was like, "No, I got to do some investigating because I want to break into a random lady's house in Westview." And they're like, "Okay, be home soon."
Okay, we'll see you later. Love you. Love you, kid.
Here's my car keys.
Okay, time out. Can we talk about how sad it is for Wanda that she like went through the whole multiverse looking for her kids and one of them was still in New Jersey?
Oh my God.
He was still in New Jersey. God damn it. That is so
I never
sad.
actually thought about that, but
that's why they had to give him the sigil before the consciousness switched. Because they also had to explain why Wanda didn't find him.
Yeah, that's why Wanda didn't find him, is because he had the sigil on him. But I'm also like, fuck, it must suck to be up there in the MCU afterlife, looking down on your precious baby boy and being like, God damn it, he was in New Jersey this whole time.
Wanda's alive. Shit. She's not dead. She's alive.
She's not dead. I know she's not dead. She's definitely alive. A mountain can't crush my girl.
Exactly. Ain't no mountain high enough, man. Ain't no valley low enough.
Ain't no mountain heavy enough.
It was a styrofoam mountain. Cathan sort of he took some cheap.
Oh yeah,
he cut corners.
Yeah, he cut corners on costs, and Mount Wundagore was actually styrofoam.
But speaking of Billy, like a lot of people point this out, but like he does have a little carving in the Dark Side Castle. It's like a little like Billy Maximoff carving. So it's just like he is sort of very much tied into this Scarlet Witch prophecy, it seems. So I'm wondering how that's going to manifest later on down the MCU pipeline. But that's post
Children's Crusade.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorites.
Let's do it. Let's get it. Let's go.
Let's get it. But of course, Billy arrives in Westview. He's ready to break into Agatha's house because he heard that she was just chilling there being a crazy lady. Like, we know that she's talking to Rio, and like they're supposed to be sharing a beer and a pizza, but she's just talking to herself about random nonsense, wearing the Boner family reunion shirt, which is an amazing shirt.
And she made herself a holster out of cardboard and a garden hose gun. And so that's like one of my other favorite things to think about is like thinking about Agatha sitting around making her little cardboard holster and being like, what'll fit in here? Hose. That's a gun, right? Like just like in her like messed up little brain, and she's doing all these little crafts and she thinks she's making a big difference, but really it's just arts and crafts time at the Harkness house. And I love that for her.
Oh my God. Like that was some strong mind magic Wanda placed on her, because like her whole reality was just messed up.
Witches love the craft. What can I say?
She thinks she's at the range, and really she's just doing a hose.
The nozzle harder or softer. Yeah. Shit, but it's just a hose. Oh my God. And it's one of those carnival games where you have to spray the hole in the middle to get the thing to go up. That's Agatha's shooting range.
Then it's basically like what happened in episode 1 again, where like we see Billy getting caught looking at Agatha's brooch, but it's from his perspective, and like Agatha's just like goofily chasing him around rather than like chasing him like a real cop. But of course, Sharon Davis, MVP, stops him. Agatha gets to interrogate him, and he of course hits that release spell, which slowly gets Agatha to break out of her illusion. We actually see him say his name confidently for the first time in this series. He's like, I'm Billy Maximoff, that's who I am. I'm not Billy Kaplan. Like even though like I don't know for sure that I'm a Maximoff, I'm going to proudly say it because it feels right. And I really like that moment because like it just felt like he was truly Billy Maximoff in that moment. It's like, oh man, this feels good. This is magical.
3 cheers for being yourself. Hell yeah.
Yay.
Love it.
We love ourselves a good BM. It's so good. First it was BK, then BM, just like in real life. Eat some Burger King, then have a bowel movement. I don't know what I'm saying. Anyway.
No, that's an Easter egg. That's a MCU canon Easter egg, and I can't believe you found it. That's the one that James Gunn has been waiting for.
Before we go any further, I do want to rewind just a little bit, because I think that last scene is definitely worth talking about. Whitney mentioned that it was really cool to see all of these characters interact with Billy before they actually went down the witch's road.
Right.
And to me, that just like, it drives home the Wizard of Oz motifs of this series all the more. Because it's you were there and you were there and you were there.
Yeah.
And
what about me, your old pal Hunk?
So I think that's really, really interesting. And then also another scene that I really love that we didn't really dive too deeply into is when he's researching Agatha and he sees that it says she survived the Witch's Road. And then he's like, the Witch's Road is playing. And then he pulls up his journal. It's like talking about the Witch's Road. And it's just, I love that moment where it's like, oh, that's a weird coincidence. And then it's like, no, that's is the fate.
Answer.
Yeah.
This is what you have to do.
Yeah.
Okay, we also really have to talk about the fact that Agatha was behind the Hindenburg and the sinking of the fucking Titanic.
And she's Jolene.
And she's
Jolene, which is hilarious.
Dude, that is the most destructive one. More people died because she was Jolene than died in the Hindenburg and the Titanic combined. And if you're offended by that joke, go back to fucking 1840.
The Jolene song was actually a protection spell written by Dolly Parton.
Yes. Yes.
Oh,
absolutely.
Shit.
It's a protection
Dolly's a witch confirmed.
to keep her from getting to her man. It's a yes.
Exactly.
Oh my God.
Holy
my God.
It works.
Dolly Parton is a witch confirmed.
That song is always playing.
That song is constantly playing, and while it's playing, Dolly Parton cannot get cheated on.
It's true. And a woman named Jolene has never stolen her man before, so it works.
Yeah.
It works.
It's perfect. It's pretty perfect.
Also, the whole the Coven like meeting Billy before like they actually meet them in episode 2 rather. It sort of lines up with like what they said earlier with like how covens are tied by fate. And like, so like we could also see this Coven like sort of like try to meet up with Billy before his time because like fate's like pushing them towards him, but he's like, not yet. It's not time for Agatha All Along yet, but then they eventually do meet, and it's very cool. And I love how, of course, Jennifer had her own little YouTube channel, which is very funny.
Yeah,
He's like, hey.
and he was just like, I love her skincare routine. And then he finds out it's all a lie. That must suck. That must absolutely suck.
Never meet your heroes.
Never meet your heroes, especially never meet your skincare heroes. If I found out that
never meet a YouTuber.
Yeah, never meet a YouTuber. That's just rule number one, baby. That's just rule number one. Never do that. But I would be devastated if I found out today that I had to switch face washes and I had to stop using the face wash that I've been using for the last 5 years. I would fucking die. I would die. I love my face wash. Finding out that was a lie was the biggest betrayal that Billy Maximoff has ever or will ever face.
Like it's even wilder that she's telling her subscribers and her customers that they can eat these products that are not edible. It's like, stop doing that. You're going to kill these people. What are you doing?
Don't eat
She's
lotion.
A witch.
What's wrong with you?
She's a witch.
Don't eat lotion, okay?
Her sister was a witch.
As a YouTuber, I can confidently tell you guys not to eat lotion.
She came down in a bubble, man. Sorry.
Such a good video, classic.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's seeing all these witches like come together eventually, just so satisfying knowing that like they were sort of almost doing that in the past. The whole flashback sequence were brought to the present, like right after, Billy sort of yeeted these women off to the side of the road. Very sad. I wonder if Jennifer and Lily are okay. I'm sure they're fine.
They're fine. We saw them in the previews for next week.
Yes, they're all muddy.
But I do think it's very interesting that her first instinct is to convince him that he killed them. Because that's very manipulative, very, very Marvel villain coded, being like, haha, you actually killed them. Look, now you're evil. Now you're just like me. Come to the dark side. We have cookies. I feel like that's what she was trying to do there. But I bet she fucking knows that they aren't dead. Like, she knows that didn't kill them. And she's just trying to manipulate him. Very, very Agatha of her.
Like, I do feel like that whole moment was her very much trying to project, her own self onto Billy, because like he was like, hey, like you did what you had to do, like this is good, like you killed and you got like super powerful, and like that's what, like that is good, and like that's what
a witch does. You do whatever it takes to survive, no matter how many people you fuck over, even if you fuck over the entire Titanic and Leonardo DiCaprio has to make a movie about it decades and decades and decades later. It's not your fault. You're a good boy. You did it.
Exactly. You did nothing wrong, my beautiful, sweet child.
I stand with my canceled stepson.
But like I feel like that's what she sort of wanted to hear from her own mother. Because like she was like, she did all this bad stuff, but like she felt like she was justified. But Evanora was like, no, you're crazy. Don't do this. But like she's like, hey, like because like Agatha attached so much to, Teen back at the beginning of the season, she's like, I really want you to like me. Like even though like she's pretending like, oh yeah, I don't care about your approval. Yeah. You can tell that like Billy rejecting her at the end of the episode is just like very emotionally. It hit her like a little bit. He's like, oh, it's fine. Like, let's just walk down the road. Like, one single tear goes down her face. Like, yeah, it's totally fine. I didn't care about your approval anyway.
That's just realistic. If a cool teenager was mean to me right now, I would cry. As a 33-year-old woman,
Gen Z is fucking ruthless,
Gen Z
bro.
is fucking brutal.
That is not a challenge, commenters. That is not a challenge.
It is not a challenge.
We are very, very fragile people.
We are so fragile. We fear you and we respect you. Please don't come for us.
I get it. I'm not as funny as Tommy.
Please be kind. We love you all. Like speaking of like the younger generation, like I just really love Joe Locke in this character. Joe Locke himself, I feel like he's just perfect casting. Like I could not.
What an actor.
This is like the first piece of media I've seen Joe Locke in, but like I am immediately just like perfect casting for Billy Maximoff, because like he's just very like charismatic and like you just like he's easy to love. I'm like, oh my god, like I want to see you with the Young Avengers tomorrow. Like let's just get that happening like immediately, because like you would be so funny with everyone else.
I do think like earlier in the season I wasn't quite sure on him, right? And I think this episode he did an amazing job, and I think
he crushed it.
Like
he was holding back for this, like
exactly.
like he was holding back for this so that we could see him in all of his Wiccan glory, which I love. And I think that the reason why this character works so much for Joe specifically is that he's a little bit like, just based on what I've seen from him in interviews and like who this dude is as a person when he's not acting, he's gone the RDJ route, and he is putting a lot of his personality and a lot of his humor and a lot of his sensibility into the character. Like obviously they're not the same person or anything, because that's not acting. Acting is becoming a different person, but I do feel like he is putting so much of like what makes him into Billy Maximoff, and I think that that's why this character works so well.
Yeah, like I just feel like a lot of it just feels like him being him, and like just be you, and
Joe. Same with Catherine Hahn, like she's being her goofiest self, like her 100%. Goofiest self in this episode. Total loser or totally lying.
When she was interrogating Joe, I could sense that he was about to break. Like just one sequence, he's like laughing.
He looks like on SNL when you like look in the background, and like usually it was Leslie who was just cracking up the whole time. Dude, that's exactly what it reminded me of.
Oh my god, I love moments like that where you can just see the actors be like, oh my god, this is so funny because it's improvised. And Catherine Hahn is a queen of improv. And oh my god, why is Catherine Hahn not an SNL guest already? Like what? Like why did Disney not like coordinate that? With
coordinate
NBC.
That shit. She is so hilarious. She's so funny. And she's so hot. And she's so hot.
I mean, she's very, very,
she's very 50s, and she's like the hottest person ever. Yeah. Age knows no hotness. You can be hot at any age, and
I'm just kidding, but I'm not kidding. But you know the deal.
Yes. Catherine, if you're watching, would.
I'm here. I'm here anytime.
Absolutely would. Yes.
Speaking of woods, yes, we end in the woods. With them about to enter the next phase of the trial.
Brett, you knocked knocked your camera over. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. The headphone wire isn't as long as I thought it was. We're good. Anyways, speaking of woods.
Speaking of wood, Ralph Boner and a forest.
Exactly. There's so much wood in this episode. My God. So what are you guys' predictions for next week? Like, what do you think is going to happen?
My biggest question for next week is how are Jen and Lily going to find them on the road? Because now they're separated. They have a head start. Are they just going to like pop up further down the road and be like, surprise, bitches, you thought you could get rid of us? We're still alive. Like, I wonder how they're going to, like, how and where they're going to bring them back out of the earth. Because, like, I think that, like, because, like, my two thoughts, right, are they're going to have them pop up and have to somehow, like, go on, like, a little solo journey, just the two of them until they can catch up and then they meet up for the next trial. Or I wonder if the next trial will be Agatha thinking, oh, thank God I got rid of them. And then they open the door to the trial and they're just fucking there. And she's like, shit. So I wonder what's going to happen. Those are my two theories.
Kind of hilarious. I like that.
I like that one too. I think it should be that one, but
that would be super fun. I really like that. But what about you, Brett? What do you think is going to happen?
I'm still stuck on the image of Jen climbing out of the dirt. So I still think they're going to get shot back into Westview. I don't know.
But shot back into Westview or shot back into the road? Because Agatha crawled out, but she was still on the road.
No, the shot I'm talking about, she is crawling out of the dirt in Westview.
Oh, so you can see the back. Oh, okay. Sorry, I haven't seen that clip. I guess
it is not the road.
Well, that sucks. Why did they have to not pass go and not collect $200? But Agatha was just allowed to be like burp, 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 popping up like a daisy. Convenient. Hi, hello.
She's part gopher. It's fine.
She's part gopher, baby. That's how Agatha survived so long. She's half witch, half gopher.
Well, I wonder if Rio is going to play a role in them catching back up. Because it was also very interesting that Rio was still not showing up behind them. So I'm wondering if, I mean, we all kind of assume that Rio is dealing with Alice's body. But I mean, she's going to finish with that eventually, probably, and
finish eating it.
Eating it. Yeah, do you think that's what she does? Do you think
she's like,
people pieces? Nom, 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 nom.
Traumatized child.
I'm glad that we're just giving Rio Donner Party vibes. This is great.
She's already got them.
This is Yellow Jackets, baby. Round 2.
That's Evan Peters' territory, and he's playing a different character, so she can do it herself. It's fine.
But she's also like, I think now that Billy has been like, his sigil has been taken off, I think she's gonna specifically want to take him and his body because he is a soul that is escaped.
Oh, that is a good point.
Very good point.
Then we have Agatha fighting against Rio to protect another child figure, which will parallel Nicholas Scratch. Fuck, that's smart. Hell yeah.
I really like that idea. I like that because like
I like that a lot.
We did hear at the end of the episode before last episode that she hates ghosts, and sort of like this is like a very ghostly like type of situation with Billy Maximoff. He's like, hey, you transferred from one body to another. You can't do that. Like I hate ghosts like you. Just die already.
He's just a ghost driving a meat suit.
Agatha already said it's against the rules, which is something that we know from Multiverse of Madness 2. When Doctor Strange
inhabits the corpse,
and all those souls were trying to pull him out. He's an anomaly that needs to be fixed.
And most importantly, we did learn in Fairly Odd Parents that breaking the rules is bad. You can't break the rules.
Oh, you cannot break the rules.
That's a big old book. You can't break the rules.
Cosmo and Wanda said it first, baby. And just because they're Fairly Odd Parents and not witches doesn't mean we shouldn't take them seriously and heed their warnings.
It's all sorcery, all of it.
MCU Fairly Odd Parents crossover when?
MT, what do you think?
I think that like next week we'll probably end up going. Remember in the previews we see Agatha and I keep calling him T, and he's not T anymore. Agatha and Billy approaching this big old castle from the distance. Like I feel like we're going to that castle.
They're going to Disneyland.
And for like, this might be totally off, but like for some reason, every time I look at that castle, I get vibes of Red Skull's castle from like back in Europe, like the Castle de Crake. Like we saw it in What If, and we also saw, I think it's in a Marvel, an MCU canon comic. I'm wondering if like this castle is like secretly like a Hydra castle, and we might be like dealing with like something related to Wanda and like something related to the experiments with the twins.
Oh, God damn it. If the Nazis found the Witch's Road, fuck. The Nazis ruined fucking everything. God damn it.
Jesus
Christ. They ruined everything. Fuck you, Nazis. Let us have the Witch's Road free from your oppression. Fuck you guys.
Like the Red Skull was really into the supernatural. So like,
and that's actually
a really interesting idea.
He really was. And I'm like, please don't. Just let us have one thing that the Nazis can't touch.
Stay away. You already took
Red
Twitter
Skull
from us.
Where he was on January 6th.
He was wearing a Stephen Miller mask. Just kidding. Oh my God. Here we go. Anyway, here we go.
Stephen Miller. Qu'est-ce que c'est?
So before we conclude, I have one big question. What is Billy and Wanda's tell?
Yeah. You and your mom have the same tell. What is the tell?
I think the tell is going from one accent to another, like without explanation. Just kidding.
No, that's perfect. Like mother, like son.
It's probably the weird finger thing. If I like, it's the only thing that like they really have in common. Because like he sort of like does the weird finger thing when he does his magic. So like that's probably the tell. And like maybe he does it when he's fidgeting. I don't know.
Dude, see, this is where we need Criminal Minds to come in. Yes, I'm still watching it. I have one season left and I will have finished the entire series. But the BAU, the Behavioral Analysis Unit, could absolutely figure out what the mother-son tell is. And they can do that by sending in serial killer Aubrey Plaza undercover. I rest my case, Your Honor. Crossovers.
I do think it's probably something in their personality, right? I think it's either like a...
Well, fingies are part of your personality, in my opinion. Yeah. If you go like this, that's part of you.
It's a mannerism. I'm wondering, is it just like the assumption that like you can kind of like bum rush and dive headfirst into this magic? Like going down the Witch's Road is like a pretty like foolhardy thing, and he's just like, yeah, we got to go down the Witch's Road. So I'm wondering if like it's sort of just like that daringness and like that sort of obliviousness to danger that is sort of backed up just by luck or chaos magic, really.
Or maybe his tell is just that he loves Tommy, and she's like, oh, God, your mom loved Tommy too. Fuck.
Why do you keep muttering Toby? You're just like, Toby.
Well, like, actually, maybe the tell is that, like, because Wanda is a twin and, like, she was obsessed with her brother, like, maybe, like, his obsession with his brother is sort of the tell, like, his obsession with, like, family and, like, wanting to, like, find, I don't know. I have no idea what this is.
Nice though. Like I also love my brother. My brother's really great. I just went to his wedding 2 weeks ago. Hi, Elliot. You don't watch my show and you never will, but I love you.
But like, I would love my brothers if they were speedsters, but they're not. So like,
Oh, but they're not. No.
Just kidding.
They can't read minds. They're not speedsters. Get them the fuck out of this family. They are not welcome at the Boner family reunion. They cannot pitch a tent.
Just kidding. I love my brothers. But yes, I'm so excited to watch more of this freaking series. It's so good. Like, it just feels like WandaVision Part 2. I hope Vision Quest is even like better than this, because like I love everything about this Wanda part of the MCU. Like the Maximoff part of the MCU is just like very intriguing to me.
And yeah, for some reason, it does feel like, especially like with WandaVision and this show, like especially, obviously we went off the rails a little bit with Multiverse of Madness, but I still maintain that that's not Sam Raimi's fault, and that if he had been able to watch WandaVision before he wrote it, it would have been a lot better.
He didn't write it. Michael Waldron wrote it.
Whatever.
That's where a lot of the problems lie.
Okay.
Oh, no.
Never. Take it back.
Never.
But yeah, I do think that like it's really very lucky and very cool that Marvel is putting so much effort and love into the Wanda saga, because especially as we've seen with like other MCU shows that have come out, they've been a little clunky. Like not all of them, obviously. Like Loki was great. I really loved Hawkeye. But like even other shows that I really enjoyed, I really liked Moon Knight. It was still a little clunky, you know, it just was. There, like it doesn't feel like every other show has had the same level of attention and care as WandaVision and Agatha have been. But I really like that because they're my favorite characters. So, bitch, I stay winning. That's the point. I love these characters, and I'm so happy that they're being treated with the respect and the energy that they deserve. I wish that every MCU show was like this one.
I do think it goes beyond the characters themselves. And while I do think these characters are really interesting, I think we do have like a lot to thank to like Jack Schaefer.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yes. The people behind it are what's making these so great, and they are putting so much care, so much love, so much attention to detail. They've been handling this show with like a lot of like sensitivity, care, and representation, and I think that is because of the people who are behind it. That is because of Jack Schaefer. That is because who is working on the show and who is starring in the show. And it makes a huge difference. It really does.
And I think the lesson is, and I mean, this is a take that I think everyone's kind of heard a million times, is like, this is a show that lets the MCU be television, and it's not just like a movie that's chopped down and expanded into 6-7 parts. I mean, you can see it with WandaVision too, where it loves being television and it knows the format of television really, really well. And I do think Jack Schaefer is the reason why the show is so good, and I hope that Marvel Television can sort of learn from her.
Oh man, absolutely. Like we were talking like earlier before the episode that like this episode length specifically was just like
100%.
Wow,
yeah.
The perfect, like not too short, not too long.
Not too short, not too long. Just a beautiful, beautiful app. Loved it.
Right. The Goldilocks standard. I love it.
The Goldilocks standard, the middle bed, the medium porridge.
But yeah, I'm so glad to have been able to talk about this episode with you guys. Like,
I love this episode. I laughed so hard.
knowledgeable.
Dude, so are you.
All right. I love my friends. I love my pals. And I love all of you guys for watching and supporting us. You guys are amazing. Thank you guys so much for watching the Guardians of the Palaxy podcast. Hit that subscribe button if you guys have not already, and hit that notification bell to get notifications for every time we upload a video. It's super important because we want to see you guys. And leave us a comment. Like, it always helps with the algorithm, but we also love hearing from you guys. You guys are so nice and so positive. All your comments make our days.
What do you guys think Wanda's tell is? What do you think
what
Billy's
do you think Wanda's tell is? Tell us what the tell is. Tell the tell. Tell the tell.
Hashtag tell the tell.
Hashtag tell the tell, baby. All right. Palaxy out.
Bye, guys. Love you. Woohoo.